Hello YouTube. Dear Space Engineers community. Fans of the Warhammer 40K universe that is rightfully owned by Games Workshop encircled, see all rights reserved to them. Anything shown in this video is not a copyrights violation but only homage to works of fiction that fall under the copyright of Games Workshop. The designs are abbreviations. Sorry. Here you can see a ship that is designed after a church. Everyone on Reddit started seeing parallels to Warhammer 40K ships, so I thought, alright, why not expand this build by a classical battering ram frontal armor wedge thing and some more cannons. The cannons mod used is called WeaponCore Battle Cannons. Oh, by the way, my heretically low audio recording capacity has destroyed the original audio of the video to a degree that you would rather hear this free online text-to-speech device intonate the effects. The static is really terrible. I mean, compare this. Pew 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 boom boof pow pow poo oo. To that. Pretty annoying static, right? I will simply not use my microphone for future recordings. Anyways, enough of the old Cathedral ship shooting and standing in space. Here comes the new design. The Cathedral ship is 32,000 blocks big and stands at over 20 megabytes of file size. With an emphasis on stands, because as you can see, the current iteration of the so-called Havoc engine, that Space Engineer uses, can't handle so many blocks very well. The ship creates a lot of lag and is not very good with multiplayer sessions too. Sad. But inevitable.
Just like death in the 41st millennium. And death, this embodiment of the machine god's will, certainly delivers. 3 parapet-adorned cannon decks unleash fury against the enemies of the Imperium. The anti-planetary armament fires shells from a bore diameter of 900 mm. This massive cannon battery has appropriately been baptized the Eagle's Bloodied Talons by the tech priests of Mars. Hardened heavy armor plates give the macrostructure-like outer hull a mass of 200,093 x billion upton-funks of mass, which sets this ship into the class between battleship and capital ship based on the weapon core designations for ship sizes. It is beyond the second most massive category.
On Terra, this also means somebody built something bigger, and by logical extension laggier than this phantasmal comic book framerate inducer.
Yes. The mere presence of this battleship will freeze enemies in their tracks. Not only because of the lag, but also because the autoloader cannons are hardwired to aim at engines first. As you might know, the use of AI is strictly forbidden in the 41st millennium. Therefore it is not wise to try and set up cannons in any group configuration other than the predesignated one. In fact, the archmagos responsible for cannon setups produced the secret weapon matrices at the beginning of the battleship's construction. And the ship's massive aura is now preventing the accurate use of user interfaces. Only through unspeakable rites of dismantling, or the Emperor's personal will, could somebody engage the uplink to the machine spirit without losing their mind to madness without remedy. The broadside cannons are classified in 3 categories. The most common being a single-barrel autoloader cannon that overloads enemy shields with a very thick fire density of high explosive shells. They are supported by twin-barrel synchronized 300 mm bore sister installments which can deal a lot of damage to enemy systems in a single strike once the shield is penetrated. On the top and lowest deck are anti-fighter flak turrets as well as so-called personal defense turrets, which are rapid-fire quiz systems firing swathes of depleted uranium rounds.
I'm pretty sure those are from The Expanse and not Warhammer 40K
pattern Avenger bolt cannons. They are an extremely rare template that has only recently been rediscovered by the tech priests of Mars, specifically Titan, the Trabant in Mars orbit. Hey, did you see that? The roof tiling reveals a foreboding light of internal energy systems.
There are no finished, stable Warhammer 40K mods that use WeaponCore. Therefore weapons are from other mods.
Accelerating the ship takes very long as it is entirely propulsed by ion engines. You can watch the percentage of thrust climb up from 0 to 1 and beyond at an increasing rate. That's how heavy this ship is.
Then again, it might be lag in this footage.
Look, we are on a budget here and the ship looks great. Also, to the person who said it looks like Cruise Airplane's older brother. I am coming to you. I had 10,000 sworn legionnaires of the Emperor armed to the genetically enhanced teeth with combustion engine-driven chainswords, which his teeth are also genetically enhanced. The main hull of course comes with organ pipes for each side, giving your commander a full stereo experience. Now that your ears are in good company, feast your eyes on the Navigators Bridge. There is a built-in planetarium to keep your navigators amazed at the baffling expanse of space. At the same time, a Space Marine statue enhances chiral symmetry aspects of the bridge's window panels, and conveniently blocks sight as to ensure not directly looking into the warp.
I think that the railgun at the front of the ship is actually also from the Expanse.
While the mod used really is the Foehammer railgun from that show, the multi-melta lance that this represents is originally meant to cut a large hole into the enemy's side armor to then simplify boarding maneuvers. The funny thing about Warhammer 40K naval battle is that at least the Imperium is fighting with the same tactics that the Roman Empire on Earth fought, including ramming the enemy's ships with a frontal battering ram. This type of ship-to-ship combat predates cannons and even archers on ships and was invented by the ancient Greeks who, upon finding out how to cast metals, could build heavy battering for the noses of their ships. Maybe you have seen ships with crow feet or fists protruding from the front in Asterix and Obelix comic books?
Boy, that is not a legitimate historical source.
They really existed and were just as decorated as ships in the 41st millennium. To build even one such battering ram was the expense of an entire region, several towns at times. Of course, it was terrible if the battering ram was lost when the ship sank. I believe that this was inspirational to the Warhammer 40K lore, where spaceships are exceptionally prized, and worshipped as holy artifacts even. As for this ship's battering ram, it is made out of heavy armor blocks to keep the shape neat. Blast door blocks would be more sturdy and better suited for all-purpose hostile presence tackling. But they are either square Y or have markings on them. And also the additional melta lances could not be fitted perfectly into these triangular holes otherwise.
Melta lances being the Octo beam turret, of course. Because the WeaponCore version that I am using, and other Warhammer 40K mods are out of sync. Sorry for that.
Naturally, only the most up-to-date mods are used, including the current WeaponCore pack. The ship has a lot of room for optimization yet, admittedly. So download it now and report every problem you might encounter in the Steam Workshop or under this video. Thanks.